Hey there, y'all. Welcome back to the Empowered Educator. And today we're going to talk about something so important, but so simple. And that is what is getting at you right now, this time of year. It's December 6th as I record this. And besides the fact of this 6-7, yeah, I don't even know, but I did tell all of my students it's 6-7 weekend, right? So I'm in the midst of doing this myself. I don't know, I'm 54, I'm too old for this. However, saying that, right now in the middle of December, we are in the midst of it, right? It's rough out there. We've got a lot going on. And if I asked you what is the one thing that's causing the most anxiety for the work that you're doing right now, besides middle of the year testing and knowing if your students are making progress or not, I bet people would say student behaviors. It's just a lot right now, right? And so I want to talk to you about a couple of really quick tips on how you can reset and refocus your students and how easily you can put this into your daily routine so that you can keep your students on track, even through these exciting days of Christmas parties and celebrations, through these rough days of all-day testing or different types of testing that's going on, and through the anxiety that some students and adults have with the upcoming holiday season. So let's get going. One of the things that I tell teachers to do all year long, and I want to preface this, all of these things are things that I think you should do daily, no matter what day of the year it is. But one of the things that I really focus with teachers on when they're having some breakdowns in their systems in their classrooms is to ensure that you are communicating your expectations. So this is what I had to learn myself to do. I taught elementary and I was self-contained for most of the years that I taught. If I wasn't self-contained, we were in a team of two. So I taught math and science, or I taught reading, language arts, and social studies. So I had the students for half of the day, right? So I had to do a little bit of an adjustment. But right now I work in a middle school where students change classes every period. And so it's really an easy system that you can implement. But either way, meet them at the door, greet them at the door, and remind them of what you need them to do. This goes so far, y'all, and it's so, so simple. Good morning, Sherry. Please be sure to put your backpack up and take out your materials and do the work that's on the board. Good morning, Sherry. We have our blended learning session going on right now. Please take out your Chromebook when you get inside and get started. I would like to see that you're working on lesson 4. Kids need those reminders. I don't care how old they are, how many days you've had them in their classroom, especially this time of year, but give those reminders at the door. And y'all, if you see a kid that's not ready to walk in that door and do that, ask them to step out of the line, step to the side until they're ready to focus and get inside. And it might mean they're the last one that goes in and you have a short private conversation with them, but that they come in ready to take class serious. So number 1, meet them at the door, give your expectation. The second thing, super, super important. Before you have students do any kind of activity, tell them what you expect. I've been trained in the CHAMPS system. I know that's pretty old and there's been a lot of renditions of that since. I had the training way back when I first became an assistant principal in 2003. So I know there's been a lot of adjustments, but the big takeaway was, how do I want students to perform during, like, what was their behaviors during this activity? And that I communicate it with them. So if I want you in your seats, I want you silent, and I want you working independently, I need to tell you that. If I am going to allow you to work in groups, but you still need to keep your voice at a certain level, I'm going to tell you that. If I need you to have materials out, I'm going to tell you that. If I don't want you to have any materials out, I'm going to tell you that. It's so funny when we as adults come together for something, and if we don't tell adults, you need these materials, you should be here by this time, you should be doing this, X and Y, we get adults off task, or we get adults asking, why didn't you tell us what we needed, blah, blah, blah. But then we have these different kind of expectation for when we work with our students. And our students are kids, right? Their little brains are not all developed yet. I don't care how big their body is. And so let's just be real clear before we go into any kind of activity, put it on the board. Give yourself just a little reminder. Give yourself a sticky note, whatever it's going to take for you to remind yourself to tell kids what you expect for them to do it. So I can help you make sure students know the expectations. And then I'll wrap up this short session with, please stay consistent. If it's a process and procedure or a rule on Monday, it needs to be the same process, procedure, or rule on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I know we're tired. I know the weather is frightful, right? I know we go to school in the mornings and it's dark for most of us, and we come home at the end of the day and it's getting dark. I know there's a lot going on in our personal worlds as well. But I promise you, it'll make all of those things so much easier when you feel like you have some control and some calm in your classroom. And the best way to do that is to give the consistency. You don't want kids to think, oh, this no longer is important, so now I can just do whatever I want. You don't want kids to think, I'm going to come into this classroom and it's not going to be a calm place for me to feel safe. You don't want kids to have increased anxiety about everything going on, and now we're in a place where I have to be in fight or flight mode. I had a conversation with a group of students yesterday that are in something that I'm working on, a project I'm working on the campus, and they're leaders in my project. And when I first met with these students, I told them, you are a leader. I expect good behavior. I expect passing grades, and I expect you to be a role model for the other students. And that was the agreement we made. As I look at grades, because I do periodically with our teachers and our students, I notice that some of them are not doing as well as they should be in their classroom. So I had this conversation with them yesterday, and I asked why. And they, they're telling me different things, the usual things, right? Well, I didn't do so well in that assignment. Oh, I forgot to turn that one in. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do this, whatever. They're middle school kids. But one brave girl said, but I have to tell you, Miss Dixon, I just feel like if you're not in the room or another important person in the room is has so much chaos, I can't work. I can't concentrate, and I can't do my best job. And once she said that, 3 of the 4 other girls in the room said, I agree. Sad. Y'all, that's sad. That the room is so chaotic that students can't even learn and perform at their best if they want to. We don't want that. Let's get those structures in place, and let's keep them in place consistently. All right, y'all. It's busy. You don't have time for a super long lecture. Go in there, do these 3 things. Simple things. Not easy. And you got to stay consistent, but simple. And I promise you, you'll see a difference. If you want more, I just did a session for the Uncommon platform on managing student behaviors during this time of the year. It's going to be uploaded by tomorrow, and you can get in right now for $30 a month. It's a great price. So many other trainings on there as well, but definitely something that you could definitely use right now, this time of year. All right. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week right back here on the Empowered Educator.